Welcome to the Pint Glass Football Podcast.
What's up, PGF Nation? We are back. On this episode, we're previewing 4 of the biggest NFL games and 3 top 25 college football games for this weekend and making betting picks for each one. Be sure to stick around till the end for a couple quick bonus picks from us as well. Once again, I'm your host, Brad Fowler. Here with me, as always, my co-host, Alex Higdon. Let's kick this off, Alex. I want to start in the NFL. Seahawks, Jaguars, pretty good matchup here. Seattle opened as a 1.5 point underdog here just a few nights ago. The line looks like it has shifted multiple times. I find that very interesting. It tells me that there's a lot of money coming in on both sides here. For me, though, Alex, I think there's some serious injury concerns when I look at Seattle, because I think Seattle has the better overall roster here when they're healthy, but they've got a lot of guys beat up on that defense. Julian Love, Devin Witherspoon, those are 2 key guys in the secondary. DeMarcus Lawrence up front. Tyreek Woolen is also banged up. I know he hasn't played well this year, but it's just another guy in the secondary that could be out for this game. And when I look at this Jaguars team, I don't think it's a fluke that this defense is playing at a high level. I think we have a big enough sample size now to say that this defense is for real and playing some really good football. Trevor Lawrence has been a little bit up and down, but this team around him is starting to play some really good ball. And on the road here, Seattle traveling all the way from the Pacific Northwest down to Jacksonville, Florida. They're going to be kicking off at 1 p.m. local time in that Florida heat. Give me the Jaguars. I'm taking the Jags money line here, Alex. What do you think?
I'm going to go in the opposite direction for the same reason I was taking them against the Chiefs. Trevor Lawrence is going to give the ball away. So he's just going to give the ball away in a critical moment like he almost did against the Chiefs, but he's going to do it again. The Seahawks just won't fumble the ball in terms of dropping it. They'll just intercept it.
Let's shift to Tampa Bay and San Francisco. This is a pretty good matchup here as well. Tampa Bay here. Now, look, everything tells me that Tampa Bay is the pick here, Alex. I think this team is playing really good football, but my only concern here is they've won 4 games this season in the final seconds. And look, the data will tell you that's not sustainable long-term here. And even though I like Tampa Bay in this matchup, I think they're the better team. They're the healthier team. Alex, the professional money is coming in heavy on the 49ers side. Everything I'm reading here is that the pros love the 49ers, which I think is interesting. And this does feel like maybe a potential letdown spot for San Francisco. So I find it very interesting how much they like them here because they're coming off that big divisional win. It feels like a letdown spot. Everything points to the Bucs here in this game. Everything tells me that the Bucs are the play here. But why has it moved from Bucs -3 to now Bucs -2.5? I'm just going to follow the money here. So I'm going to take the Niners +2.5. I'm hesitant to make that play, but there's a reason that they're taking this money heavily on the Niners here.
Yep, and I'm actually going to agree with you here. I'm going to take the Niners and the 2.5 as well. To your point, they've been winning those games in the final seconds. At some point in time, that luck does run out, even though Baker's still my leader from MVP. But I think the 49ers are going to come in, they're going to be ready to play, and they're going to be executing their game plan.
I like this Lions-Chiefs game. Now, Kansas City opened as a 1.5 point favorite, which I think is interesting because they're coming off of that loss to Jacksonville. And then it moved to 2. Now I've seen it move to 2.5. So once again, very interesting line movement because here's the Lions team that has been rolling. They're playing great football. The Chiefs have been pretty spotty, and the line is moving in their favor. So I think that is something to clearly pay attention to here. I still don't think the offense is fully clicking, even though it's looked better. I still don't think it's where they want it to be. Xavier Worthy, the ankles, it seems like that's still an ongoing issue for them. It's also a short week for Kansas City. I think there's clearly a formula for the Lions here. If they're going to have success in this game, they want to control the clock. They want to limit Mahomes' time with the ball and win the time of possession battle. Like I said, Lions are hot here. They clearly look like the better team on paper, especially when you look at Kansas City. Their only wins are against a 1-win Giants team and a beat-up one-win Ravens team. So nothing they've done has really been that impressive. I know they were right there down to the wire with the Jags, but I have to follow the money here, Alex. Even though everything is telling me that the Lions has to be the play here, that line movement is just so telling. So I'm going to take Kansas City here. I'm going to lay the 2.5 points. I don't feel great about it, but I got to follow the money, Alex.
Yeah, and I get following the money here. My thing is, if this is at Kansas City, Detroit, even though have run game, will travel. I'm going to take Kansas City here. Sunday night action, a little bit cooler, outdoors. I'm going to take Kansas City here because I don't think for the explosiveness that we've seen from Detroit, I think that's explosive inside. I don't think that translates to outdoor play. I'm going to take Kansas City here. Initially beginning, I was thinking Detroit all week long until we got to today. And just going through it, I just like Kansas City outdoors and I don't like Detroit outdoors. But Brad, before we move on, I want to give one extra one. Take the Falcons and the points over the Bills.
Ooh, I like it. And I've got some bonus picks for you guys as well here at the end. We do have one more NFL game I want to get to here, Alex, but I do want to say I like your point about playing outdoors because I think that is big. We know Kansas City has a big home field advantage. That is probably playing into this line movement a little bit because you're right. Detroit, great run game, but they are a team that is definitely more dangerous on the turf. So Monday Night Football, Commanders, Bears. Commanders open this game -4.5. Multiple books have already moved this line down to -4. I've even seen some books have it down to -3.5. So some interesting line movement there moving towards the Bears here. Look, Washington's been good, but I think a lot of their recent success, I think, is a little bit misleading. That win they had over the Chargers came against a team that has major offensive line issues. And if it wasn't for a fumble and a couple key penalties that really swung that game, it felt like there was a point in that game where the Chargers were going to run away with it. They were about to take a 17-point lead. They had full control of that game. Like I said, a couple plays that went against them, and all of a sudden the momentum swung back to Washington. And I'm not trying to take anything away from Washington's win, but I do think some of their success has been a little misleading, and I'm really kind of shocked that they opened as a 4.5-point favorite. That just seems like a lot of points to me, Alex, because when I look at this team, I think the Bears are being a little bit undervalued here, and maybe Washington is a little overvalued because I think these teams feel pretty evenly matched here. So for that big of a spread, I think is really providing some value here to take the Bears +4.5.
I know they don't like when we agree, Brad, but I'm going to take the Bears as well as the points here. A nice little revenge game, as they like to say, for the Bears over that debacle, whatever that was last season when they scored that on that Hail Mary. But yeah, I'm going to take the Bears here. And plus, we also have to see, are the Commanders going to stay consistent with Bill, Jakari Krosky-Merritt? Are they going to stay consistent running the ball with him, or are they going to go in a different direction? Because they've been inconsistent. They've been consistently inconsistent giving him the ball. So until I see that, I'm actually going to stick with the Bears here and take the 4.5.
All right, let's shift to the college football slate. Big time top 10 matchup. Oregon, Indiana. Look, this is a quarterback duel. I know there's a lot of different ways to look at this game, but we've got two of the top quarterbacks in the country, Dante Moore, who's now the Heisman leader. Indiana's Fernando Mendoza. We talked about him, Alex, and how good he's been playing a couple of weeks ago. ESPN College Game Day is in Eugene. It's the top game for CBS. Their kickoff window at 3:30 p.m. Eastern time. We know that's reserved for the biggest game on CBS each week. Look, I'm going to be in the press box, Alex, for this game. I can't wait. This is going to be electric atmosphere at Autzen Stadium. Oregon opened as an 8.5-point favorite. But when I look at these teams, look, I think that the gap between these teams isn't that wide. 8.5 points is a lot. I understand Oregon's a really good team, and this is at home. But these teams, when I started breaking down the tape and really looking at the numbers here, Alex, these teams, I think, are closer than people might realize. Indiana is a team that likes to run the ball. They run almost 62% of their offensive snaps. It sets up their play-action game, being able to push the ball down the field. They had 4 yards per carry versus Iowa. That's a pretty good physical a defensive front that's good against the run. But this matchup is a little different. Nothing against Iowa, but this is a tougher test going up against Oregon's front seven. They're top 2 nationally in tackles for a loss. They're top 10 in sacks. These guys can get after it. And as far as Oregon running the ball, they're averaging 6 yards per carry. They're top 10 in rushing in college football. Their offensive line versus this Indiana defensive line, I think, is the key to this football game. That is going to be the matchup to watch here. I think if Indiana's defense can slow down the run, put some pressure on Dante Moore to push the ball down the field, this game could get really interesting. But overall, Alex, when I look at this matchup, what separates it for me is Oregon's depth and versatility on offense. I just think they have more ways to score. I think they have more weapons. And the other key thing here for me is the home field for Oregon is massive. Autzen is one of the loudest, toughest places to play in the nation. And Fernando Mendoza has actually played at Autzen Stadium when he was at Cal before transferring to Indiana. And this guy was rattled by the atmosphere. Now, I know he's got a lot better team this time around, but the crowd is going to be a factor. I've been to the Seahawks stadium multiple times. It's known as being the loudest stadium in the NFL. I'm telling you right now, this place is louder, especially for big games. It is going to be crazy. So Indiana better have their silent count ready to go. I'm going to take Oregon. I think they win this game, and I'm going to take them to cover the 8.5. I think they probably win this game by 10, maybe 13. I think it's an interesting game. I think Indiana hangs around, but Oregon pulls away late.
And here we go, Brad. I've actually already placed this bet as of Sunday. I placed the bet. I'm taking Indiana. I took Indiana money line over Oregon, but also take the points as well. I mean, they're giving 8.5. Some places I've seen 7.5, but I would take Indiana in the points, but I personally bet Indiana money line here.
Yeah, and look, I don't blame you. I think Indiana's a really good football team. I think they deserve the ranking that they have next to their name for a reason. I think this is a team, look, if they win this game, they're going to be in the college football playoff conversation without a doubt. This is a big measuring stick game for them. They're going to come in, they're well coached, they're going to be fired up. This is a big-time road test for them. So this is going to be a fun one regardless, Alex. Excited for that one. We've got a big top 25 matchup in the SEC, Alabama versus Missouri. Alabama, 3-point favorite at Mizzou. Look, Missouri remains undefeated. This is a team kind of similar to Indiana in a way, looking to kind of prove itself as a legitimate college football playoff contender. I know Indiana made the CFP last year, but you get my point here. Missouri's kind of trying to break through this year and become one of those teams. I think a win over Alabama would obviously be a massive statement for them, but this is a classic trap game for Alabama, coming off 2 demanding wins, and with Tennessee ahead, this could be a look-ahead spot, and this is an early kickoff on the road versus a Missouri team that I think is getting maybe a little disrespected nationally. This is a very good football team. They have an elite run defense, second nationally in yards per carry allowed, top 10 in sack rate. I mean, they can really generate pressure. And I think the formula for them is going to be to stop the run early, try to create 3rd and longs, and unleash this pass rush on Alabama. And Missouri quarterback Bo Pribula is a dual threat quarterback and probably one of the most underappreciated quarterbacks in the country right now. This is a guy that could cause some problems for Alabama's defense. The line opened at Bama minus 5.5. Like I mentioned a minute ago, it's now down to 3. So there's definitely some money here. I'm going to follow the money once again here, Alex. I like Missouri in this spot here. I'm going to take Missouri plus 3 at home. Love a home dog here. And I'm taking them to win outright. So sprinkle some money on the money line as well, Alex. I'm taking them in the upset.
Yeah, and I'm going in the opposite direction. I'm going to take Alabama. However, from a betting perspective, I would take Missouri in the points, but I think Alabama's going to win the game.
All right. Ohio State, Illinois, another big matchup in the Big Ten. Ohio State, pretty big favorite in this one. It's at they're a 14.5-point favorite at Illinois. Big noon kickoff game. I think Ohio State is going to open it up this week. I think they're going to take the training wheels off of quarterback Julian Sand. We're at that point in the season now where I think they really trust this kid. They trust him to run the offense. And I think this is just too much team speed for Illinois. Look, no disrespect to the Illini. I love what this program is doing. I love what Brett Bielema has built in Illinois. I think this is a tough football team, a physical football team, and I think they're going to have to be if they want to try to win this game, because I think they're going to have to slow down the game, control the game on the line of scrimmage if they have any chance in this one. Ohio State, I think, just needs to have composure and execute. I think they will. I'm taking Ohio State to win and cover the 14.5. I think they pull away from Illinois in this game.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you there. Initially, this is one of the games that I was looking at where I could say 14.5 is a lot of points. But yeah, I agree with you in terms of Ohio State. I think they're going to win and cover.
All right. Like I said, guys, in the intro, I got a couple quick bonus picks for you. Michigan money line over USC on the road. I don't trust USC to stop the run, and I think they can win on the line of scrimmage. So give me Michigan, even though they're a slight underdog in this game versus USC. And my other bonus pick, guys, Oklahoma money line over Texas. Look, John Mateer is questionable. So if he plays, I love OU in this game. But obviously we're not going to know here until closer to kickoff. But I think either way, that this defense is really what I'm betting on here, Alex. I think this Oklahoma defense is for real. I think they can create turnovers and flip this game.
Yep. And mine are Stanford and the points over SMU and Arizona over BYU money line.
Man, I absolutely love it, guys. That's going to do it for today's episode. If you haven't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Check out what we're doing on YouTube as well, the free newsletter, pintglassfootball.com, social media at PGF Podcast. But once again, I'm Brad Fowler. He's Alex Higdon. This is Pint Glass Football, and we'll catch you next time.
Thanks for listening to the Pint Glass Football Podcast. Be sure to subscribe and follow us on Twitter at PGF Podcast.